Hi, my name is Kathy Myron, and today's tech tip is all about VPNs. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network, and traditionally these VPNs have been used by large organizations to enable remote workers to securely access company servers and applications that might be hidden inside of the corporate network and not available on the public internet. But now with so many companies using internet-based tools, you might have heard the term software as a service, and with so many remote workers on the go all the time, working from Starbucks or airport lounges, a personal VPN can be really handy to ensure the security of your communications no matter where you're going on the internet. So the way that a VPN works is you have yourself over here with, say, your laptop, right? Maybe sitting inside of a Starbucks, and then you want to access some website on the internet. If you were to go directly to that website while on an insecure public Wi-Fi, you have the potential that any other person or device connected to that network could intercept and see your communications. They can even manipulate the communications that are sent back to your computer, basically hijacking your session when you're in the middle of logging in to maybe your banking website or your email provider. They can hijack that session, transact and impersonate you over here, and then control what data is sent back to your screen so that you never know that they've done anything wrong. Where if you contrast that with how this would work with a VPN service in place, your initial communication out to the internet is going to be to the VPN provider servers. And you establish this secure tunnel. So think about it as a shielded method where all of the data passed between your computer and the internet is then encrypted, secured, and unable to be seen or tampered with by anybody else on the network. And so a VPN service can be really helpful, especially if you're doing anything sensitive on the go. You never want to be logging into a banking website, sending payments, performing any kind of high-risk transactions on public Wi-Fi unless you have a VPN. Now, VPNs are fantastic for security. They're also really good from a privacy standpoint because they help anonymize your traffic from the end websites that you're going to visit. So if you don't want your website provider or if you don't want the owner of a website to know your IP address and where you're coming from, a VPN can help put an added layer of anonymity in there. In some other countries where there are limitations on what type of content can be broadcast depending on the location of the user, a VPN is one way that people get around that. And that brings me to the right-hand side as to what a VPN is not good for, because it's great for many things, but it's not great for every single scenario. And one of those things is ad blocking and tracking. If you don't want to be tracked by those websites, then or delivered targeted ads, you're still going to need some ad blocking software, either as a browser extension, or sometimes this is built into many antivirus suites. The other thing is that VPN, because it does encrypt all of the traffic between your computer and the internet, there's some added hops and added steps that add milliseconds of latency or delay to the communication. So it's really important when you turn on your VPN that you let it intelligently select which VPN servers you should connect to. If you're based in Miami, you don't want to be connecting to a VPN server in London or Australia or California. It's just not going to be the most efficient. So usually you're going to want to select the server that is geographically closest to you, or you can just use the default auto select and let the software choose it for you based on both your location, but also the load on each of the VPN servers to make sure that they don't send your traffic to a server that's overloaded with requests and therefore also slower. And then the last piece is that your VPN needs to be on in order to work. It's not exactly like antivirus, where as soon as you boot up your computer, the protection is always on. So in some cases, because of the slowness that it can introduce, you're going to want to turn off VPN if you're doing a Zoom meeting or a Microsoft Teams meeting, because those milliseconds of delay can be really disruptive in terms of audio freezing or being choppy. But you do want to make sure that you turn it on anytime you do a sensitive transaction, like viewing social security numbers, driver's license, payment information, or even your inbox. If you have any questions about a VPN, which one you should choose, how do you shop for them, and how else you can take measures to secure your information, I'd love to hear from you. You can always message me on LinkedIn, or you can book a calendar meeting at meetkathy.com. Thanks.